Your results are a mirror of what you're putting into your business. If you are not getting the results that you want, there's a reason why.
Welcome to the Aligned and Magnetic podcast. I'm your host, Lauren Ashley. I'm an ICF certified business alignment coach, and they call me the money mindset and manifestation queen. I'm here to help you make your vision for your life and business a reality and doing it in a way that lights you the fuck up. If you're ready to build an aligned, magnetic, and profitable business so that you can live the life of your dreams, you are definitely in the right place. In this podcast, I promise to provide you with the raw lessons, the tools, and powerful questions to help you on the way to creating success your way. Thank you so much for being here. Now let's dive in.
Hi, love. Welcome back to another episode of the Aligned and Magnetic podcast. Today, I want to talk to you about how your results in your business are a mirror. And I want to kind of, just shed some light on the way that I like to handle this process, if you will. Fix problems, get to the nitty-gritty, and figure out what's going on, okay? So, first of all, let's start with the definition. I've been reading a lot of Esther and Jerry Hicks from the Teachings of Abraham. And I've been rereading Ask and It Is Given lately, and I'm loving it. So the definition, though, of the law of attraction, because that's what they teach on primarily, is that which is like unto itself is drawn. Sounds so proper. Whatever you are giving attention to causes you to emit a vibration, and the vibrations that you offer equal your asking, which equals your point of attraction. So if you missed last episode, I would really love for you to go and listen to it, maybe after this one. But this is essentially what I'm talking about, right? So the last episode, I talked about how our energy is translated into words and translated into how we be and show up online. So if we don't fix the root, aka our energy, aka what we believe, then we can end up kind of creating crazy results or no results at all, crazy situations, tiredness, like all of this stuff, because we haven't worked on cleaning up our energy first, right? Remember, always your energy, you are your point of attraction. You are like a guiding post for everything, You are the thing that is calling, you're magnetizing results to you. So when crazy shit starts to happen in your life, and yes, we do live in an unpredictable world, but I think the most powerful place to come back to, because I notice a lot of people are in victim mentality, and sometimes shit happens and it's hard and it's a challenge and this and that. We can blame all of these reasons, but ultimately, you are in control of your actions. You are in control of your experience and how you choose to move forward, right? And we can choose to move forward through things with ease and grace, or we can choose to move forward in a chaotic way, or we can, there's infinite ways that we can choose to move through life. And so this is the big thing that I want you to take away from today. So your results in your business are a mirror, and if you're not getting the results that you desire, let's dive into why that might be. And I will be giving you some homework at the end of this, so make sure that you pay attention until the end, because the questions that I will give you are going to help you figure out what it is that you need to shift in your business to get the results that you desire. So I explained, I've been talking about this for a while, but I feel like in episode 17, I talked about how it's a combination of mindset work, energy work, and taking action that is going to help you to create your dream business, right? We can't just do the mindset work and the energy work and then sit on our couch and eat all day or watch videos all day and meditate all day. While yes, meditation is a super powerful tool, if your business relies on you interacting with other human beings, you've got to be doing that in order to attract the people into your world, right? One of the biggest mistakes that you can make is taking your results personally. Your business is not, while you do personal work, and while if you're listening to this, you're probably doing work that really lights you up, and that is what's calling you in the world. It's your calling, your purpose, whatever. Your results aren't personal, right? If you're not getting the results that you desire, it's not personal. It's just a reflection of what you're putting out. It's feedback. It's simply feedback. So when we can take this perspective, an observer's perspective, instead of being butthurt about it, like, oh, why is no one wanting to talk to me? And like, no one's answering, no one's engaging, right? And I've been in this mentality so many times. So that's why I want to share this with you, because I think it's a huge way of trying to understand our results, right? And understand our business. But when you can step back from it, it's hard sometimes to step back because it's very personal. Our business is pretty much a reflection of who we are, right? Especially if you're a personal brand. But when we can step back and take an observational look at what's going on, that's when we can actually solve the problem. That's when we can see what's not working. And it's not about making things the way they have to be or the way they should be. I get a lot of resistance from people sometimes, from clients, because they're like, oh, well, I don't want to use those like corporate-y words. And it's like, well, nobody said you had to, but we do need to learn to speak your client's language in order to communicate with them, in order to attract your soulmate clients to you. You can't just be speaking in airy-fairy fluff, right? Not everyone's going to understand what it is that you're talking about. And super guilty over here, by the way, sometimes. Like, I feel like sometimes my words are not making any sense, but I just go with it. But then there's other pieces of content that I create that I really do focus on getting the message across. And I focus on telling a story and using metaphors to help you understand. But when we're just doing solely what we want to be doing, whether that's downloading, channeling, whatever, we've just got to make sure that we have a very well-rounded way of being online so that we can translate our content, so that we can impact people's lives, so that we can reach the people that we are here to impact. Because people are not in your brain, right? So while you might understand what you're saying, you might understand your reality and your experience, people on the other side might not really know what's going on. So you can't really have one thing without the other. Like, you can't have mindset work without energy work and action, right? And I think I've been seeing that this is a huge trend in business. There's a lot of spiritual business coaches out there, or intuitive business coaches, or mindset coaches. But what I've been seeing lately is that these coaches don't know actually how to help their clients put what they've learned into action. They don't know how to help them anchor, right? Because it's one thing to uncover these amazing thoughts and these amazing patterns and beliefs and let go of all this stuff, but where's the integration? Where's the accountability, right? How do you then anchor that into your reality? If you're just spending all your time like journaling and oh, I found I'm this way about this. Okay, well, now how do you be different? Like, how do you be who you desire to be and stop showing up, at the, what's it called? At the expense of your own health, right? How do you start saying no? How do you put up more firm boundaries and work through that? And each thing is a new level, new level, new level. And that's why, I find coaching to be true coaching, right? True coaching, because not everyone in the industry actually has coaching certification, but the coaching certification that I've done, it helps you to do all the things. It helps you to uncover the stuff and then actually integrate it, take action from it. So like I said, you can't have one without the other. Now, I want to give you a couple of examples of how these have come into play in my business, just so you can kind of get a feel for what I mean. So my first health coaching business, my first coaching business was health coaching. When I was building this business, I think I mentioned in the last episode that after 6 months, I had to hire a coach because I wasn't getting the results I wanted, right? And after hiring a coach, I realized like, oh my God, I wasn't even doing half of what I had to be doing in order to sell, in order to be deemed as a leader in my industry, in order to build trust with my audience, right? And so I started doing that. I started to come up with a message, and I started to put out content every day. And I started to show up on stories. I got over my fear of going live, and I did lives for like, I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years. I was selling my services. I had launches. I had challenges. I did this Beat the Bloat challenge, which was a 5-day challenge. It was great. And I did some other challenge. I can't remember. Love Your Tummy series or something like that. And then I did Manifest Your Dream Body live series. I did all these different things, right? Like all of this stuff. And I was showing up. I was showing up weekly. I was promoting myself. I was selling my services. I was even offering free calls. But I noticed 2 things in this stage, okay? First of all, I was super hard on myself about showing up in a particular way, meaning that I was putting a lot of pressure on myself to get things done. Like, I don't even know how to describe it. It was very masculine, very structured, and very like, if I don't get this done, and like freaking out, like very stressed out. This is not the type of energy that is going to serve you in business. Let me just say that, okay? So if you are somebody who is like freaking out about getting shit done, we need to work on that. But then also, if you are the person that's like way too lax about it, that's also not going to work. It's all about finding that balance, right? And I feel like I'm the perfect person to help you find that balance because I've been on both extremes. I don't meet a lot of people who have been on both extremes. I meet people who are very much like structured and very masculine and very like take action and go and force and stress and blah, blah, blah. Or I meet a lot of people who are on the feminine side where they're just like, oh, go with the flow, things will happen, la, la, la. But I have completely flip-flopped. I have a lot of experience in both extremes, so I find that very interesting. Anyway, health coaching business, I was showing up, but there was a lot of pressure around what I was doing. So that's one thing. I also was not aligned with my offer. So I was promoting like calls to help people with their binge eating. Like I was speaking a lot about binge eating, and I think I talked about this in episode 17. I'm sure I've talked about it before if you listen frequently to the podcast, if you're one of my listeners. Then you will have heard me talk about this before. But yeah, the binge eating, that just like was not it. And so I ended up attracting people who were really struggling with mental illness. Like it wasn't just about emotional eating anymore. It was mental illness. And so the words that I was choosing, my magnetism, I was magnetizing the wrong people. They were ideal clients. They wanted to work with me, but they weren't ready. And in the last week's episode, I talked about the difference between ideal and soulmate. It was a lot harder for me to sell somebody into a program if they were a binge eater because mentally, I don't think I was the right person to work with them because I wasn't using the right language. But B, I don't believe that they were actually ready to do the work because they were in such a low frequency. I actually talk about the emotional scale and frequency of our words inside of the Aligned and Magnetic Business Academy. And this is super key to be aware of. It's not that we have to like necessarily manipulate our words or choose, but we need to be very intentional about the words that we are picking to communicate with, instead of just allowing whatever to roll off the tongue because, it's about that alignment, making sure that we are being intentional. So that's the other thing. And this was the key thing though. So there were like 2 things there that were off. I was doing the work, I was showing up, but the energy behind my work was stressful. And I felt very forced to create specific things. Now when I create my content, it's very flowy. You know what I mean? When I was creating content before, it felt very much like, oh, I have to say the right thing in order to blah, blah, whatever result. And now it's like, I feel called to talk about this. Let's talk about it, relate it back to what I do. And there we go. People come. But it wasn't always like that. I definitely had to work on it. So what the fuck am I even talking about? Where am I? Okay, so that was the other thing. And then this part though was so key and so mind-boggling that like, how did I not think of this? So I hadn't manifested my first one-on-one client until like a year and a half after. It was probably like a full year after I started my business and after I started working with my coach, something like that. And I remember my peers were manifesting clients, they were filling programs, they were getting paid 4K, 8K months, 10K months, like easy. And they started after I started. So I was sitting there like, what is wrong with me? Why am I not seeing results? Then I started taking coach training. My peers were not trained. They were coaches, right? Quote unquote coaches, but they didn't have certification, neither did I. And I knew the difference between a certified coach and a non-certified coach because my mom is a professional coach and has a coaching academy. And so I'm very much like, I know the lingo, I know the ethics, I know all of that. And it also felt wrong for me to call myself a coach. Oh my God, I forgot about this part of my story. My coach told me to call myself a coach, even though I didn't feel confident in calling myself a coach because I didn't have coach training. This is wild, you guys. Like, do not do shit because people tell you to do. I swear to fucking God. Don't. This is why I'm so clear with my clients. Oh my God. I'm going to be doing another episode on the difference between coaching, consulting, and mentoring. And I want to share more with you about my process because so many people are just following what other people fucking tell them and going against their own integrity. And it's not okay. It is not okay. Okay, anyway, I digress. So once I started coach training, it was April 2019, 2 or 3 weeks after. Okay, hold on. Before, leading up to this, I didn't know what the fuck I was going to do with my clients. When I was like, I hadn't even thought about it actually. My coach didn't help me go there either. I didn't have an intake form, or maybe I did have an intake form, but I had no idea. I didn't have a framework. I didn't have a process. I didn't know how my calls would unfold once I got one-on-one clients. So I was out there promoting this program and I had not even thought about like, what am I going to do with my clients once I get them? I don't know. I have no fucking idea. So what's crazy to me, this was like an underlying thing, right? Like I could mentor or consult, but for me, it was wrong to like call myself a coach and then just tell my clients what to do because that's not what coaching is. And so literally 3 weeks into starting coach training, I manifested my first 4K one-on-one client. My first client that paid me $4,000 for my one-on-one coaching services. I loved working with her. She was definitely a soulmate client. But do you see, just in this story, how so many elements were not in alignment until by this point I had kind of let go of, I had totally let go of the binge eating. I was talking about manifesting and mindset, which was way more up my alley. And then I had invested in myself as a coach. So I started to feel confident in myself as a coach and I started to practice my skills. And therefore, that is what allowed me to open up to receive clients. But you see, this is what so many people don't understand is that when we're not in integrity, when we're out of alignment with what our truth is, we are going to continue to put up blockages unless we either change our truth or we do the thing we know we need to do to be in integrity, okay? This is so important. All right, I think I can get off my high horse now. So anyway, this client though showed up out of nowhere. I had been like posting in Facebook groups for like a fucking year with no results. No, okay, not no results. I was building my community and stuff, but I think I had made like $100 up until that point, which is like, okay, right. Like, you know, you don't really have a business if you're only making $100. And that's not true. I was doing other work as well, but okay, anyway, I had sold like one program at $100. So yeah, once I had the confidence in myself, I manifested my first client and that was amazing. Oh my God, I felt so happy. if you're trying to sell something that you don't wholeheartedly believe in, it's not going to work. If you are trying to sell yourself as having skills that you don't actually have, it's not going to work. If you're trying to market yourself as being somebody that you're actually not, it's not going to work. This is why every single thing that I do comes back to self. What do you want? Who are you? What do you believe? And let's build a business that is in alignment with that, right? All right, next. Okay, so the next situation, the next core, like maybe milestone that I remember in my business was I had shifted out of teaching solely about health, So I started in health coaching because it was easy. I knew it. I had been studying health for a while. I took health psychology. I took a ton of other psychology courses that helped me with that. But I was also doing a ton of research. I exercised like very frequently, and I was working a lot on myself and my eating habits. So I felt pretty comfortable with health, right? But as soon as I started learning about mindset and manifestation, oh my God, that's what I wanted to do. And I think the mindset was kind of there all along. I just didn't really know it. But everything leads you eventually to where you need to be. So at this point, I had shifted out of teaching only about health and emotional eating and all of this stuff, and more into teaching about mindset and manifestation. And I loved it. I felt like I could just channel, right? And just share what was working, because I was working on manifestation so much. And this is exactly where I say, like, your results are a mirror. Actually, let me skip back to the first scenario, right? Like, the reason I hadn't been getting clients is because, like, it was literally a mirror. I didn't feel confident in the process. And I have in my process and what I was going to take a one-on-one client through. And I had one of my clients, actually a couple of my clients, sometimes they want to charge like $5,000 for a one-on-one package because they've got to pay their bills, right? Which is great. But if you're not confident and then they get a client, like a one-on-one client at a lower rate, and they're like, oh, fuck, like, what am I going to do with this client? If you can't wrap your head around like a client at a lower rate and what you're going to do with them, you're not going to be able to wrap your head around a client at $5,000 and what you're going to do with them. You know what I mean? So we have to look at this feedback. This was simply feedback for her that, oh my God, I don't feel confident. What am I going to do with this client? Okay, this is an opportunity for me to step into my confidence and remember what I know and believe in whatever and trust in the process and whatever. Anyway, and this client, by the way, has a process, and they have coach training. They know what they're doing. You know who you are, ma'am. And they're an amazing coach, but they still felt like, oh my God, what am I going to do? So we've got to look at these things. And I don't believe that it's necessary to start at the bottom. It's not necessary to charge less, but we need to sort through the energy and shift out of, like, that was something that was buried there. And we haven't worked one-on-one together really for that much time. And so I would have been able to help in a different way. But the container that we were in didn't have that level of support. And so I didn't even know that this was an underlying belief for her. But when we can sort through those beliefs, which I do with my one-on-one clients a lot more quickly, then we can step into that, like, okay, now I'm ready to receive $5,000 for a package because I wholeheartedly believe in myself and my results. All right. So then I've let go of the health coaching. I'm teaching mindset manifestation, right? But at this point, I had been uncovering human design. And I realized that I am not designed to be consistent. I have very feminine and flowy energy. And while I definitely have organization skills, I'm pretty organized, I also have a lot of, I have a pretty strategic brain. The way in which I'm designed to function in my reality, in my environment, is very much flowy. This means open space. This means kind of just like going with the flow, And I don't know if I've talked about this before, but you can't have a river without rocks. A river without rocks would just be a flood. So you can't have feminine energy without masculine energy. You need something to contain the flowy feminine, and that's the masculine structure. Every person has both masculine and feminine. It's just about what you're intentionally choosing to show up in, right? And so at this point, I had gone totally into my feminine. I was like, well, fuck the masculine. Like, I'm here to be feminine. I'm here to be flowy, which it was a very integral part of my journey. But then I wasn't showing up. I was only showing up when I felt called to. I was only showing up when I had a download to share, if you will, when I had inspiration, when something happened and oh, that triggered an inspiring thought. But like I said at the beginning, you need to be consistent in order to receive clients, right? You can't expect to close down your business doors, your virtual business doors, not put stuff out there, not open up your storefront and show what you've got. You can't expect to have that closed down and then still have customers coming to you. They've got to be able to trust you, and you've got to show up in order to build that trust, right? So since then, after going way far into the feminine, I decided okay, I've got to do something about this, and put systems in place and at least create intentions, And it's so funny. I feel like I've heard before, the things that got you here won't get you there. Anyway, that's an aside for later. But the systems that we use at one point in our lives or our business is not always going to be the end all be all. This is it forever. We are meant to grow into systems and bring things in to support us and then expand and grow beyond that. We are not designed as human beings to stay stagnant forever, to stay the same. So yeah, this time in my business where I was very in the flow, very in the feminine, I see this being a really big issue for other spiritual entrepreneurs, which is why I'm super inspired to help these entrepreneurs, and all entrepreneurs. I just want you to live your best life. Really, but a lot of spiritual, intuitive, manifestation, feminine kind of flowy people really struggle with this, with showing up consistently because they don't have a system in place to support them. And so since all of this, what my systems look like now are weekly podcasts, which I can create in advance. I don't have to show up at the same time every single week, and I put out an email every week. When we have systems in place to support us and to sell for us, then we can build an aligned, magnetic, and profitable business. The problem is a lot of people who come to me feel really put off by email marketing, because it's honestly such an effective way of building relationships, but I feel like it's overplayed by a lot of big name brands and companies, and it's sales and blah, 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 blah. And it can feel spammy. I know a lot of leaders in the business world will teach you send 4 emails after your webinar. And it's what the heck? That is a lot of emails. I just did a webinar the other day, actually, and I received 5 emails right after. And I was like, damn, that's a lot. And so obviously we don't want to be spammy, but we do need to find ways of being consistent and of using systems to help support our growth as business owners. So if you are one of those people that struggles putting systems in place, you're kind of just trying to throw shit together and see what sticks, or, you're posting, you're not really sure what's working. I'm opening up the Aligned and Magnetic Business Academy to the public really soon. So send me a DM. I'm also currently accepting one-on-one clients. So that is also an option for you. Send me a DM. We'll figure out what you need. So my third scenario is during the pandemic. It was I've talked about this before, I know, but it was finally time to step into myself as a leader. I think all other times that I had launched something, there was always a safety net of well, there's a second income. It's no problem if I don't reach my goals, right? And I am the kind of person that will do things very comfortably. I won't always push myself. So it's been very helpful for me to have a coach, right? To help me see that and to help me work through what I need to work through in order to step into my leadership. I don't believe you have to put yourself in super risky situations like quitting your 9-to-5 job and moving to Mexico with only 3 months worth of savings. I don't believe it's necessary to like half-ass your launches in hopes that one day you'll reach your goals. Like, we can go all in. We just got to kind of do the mindset work and the energetic work to get you there, which is why having a coach is super helpful. But anyway, once the pandemic hit, it was like, all right, this is it. Like, I got to go. That's all on me. And everything that I had learned fell into place, right? So the mirror during this was like I was putting out consistent content. Like, literally, I was showing up every single day, if not multiple times a day. I stepped into my leadership. I was so confident. I was so trusting in the universe. I flowed. I knew what my goals were. I knew what my intention was. It was to show up and to connect and to send emails. And I knew when I needed to send the emails, but I didn't put pressure around what to say. I kind of just allowed the inspiration to flow through. I set the intention to send this email. God, angels, universe, please help me. What do I need to say today? Right? So I was really like just working with the universe and just in this flowy state, and my results reflected that. So I think next week I'm going to talk to you about communicating with your soulmate clients, like how you can magnetize soulmate clients through magnetic messaging, which is also something that I cover in the Aligned and Magnetic Business Academy. Seriously, this space is so fucking good, you guys. And I can't wait to have more and more people join it because it's really a supportive space for female, spiritual, or intuitive entrepreneurs ready to grow their business or their second business. And doing it in a way that really works for you and lights you up. I don't believe that we need to hustle. We just need to lean on these systems that will work for us and show up in a way that we feel called to show up, okay? So I'll be giving you some homework in just a little bit, but I want to tell you also about my free masterclass, which if you come to the masterclass, you're going to get a super special rate on the academy. So make sure you sign up for that. It's only going to the ones who show up for that masterclass, and then doors will be opening to the public at a higher rate. So in this masterclass, I'll be sharing with you the secrets that I've learned in my business to growing your service-based business and attracting soulmate clients more easily without the frustration or the hustle so that you can reach your money goals this quarter. We're going to talk about the number one thing that keeps entrepreneurs stuck at the same income level, the secret to growing your service-based business your way, why you're struggling to be heard online and what to do about it, and the secret sauce to attracting soulmate clients with ease. So if you would like to show up. If you would like to come and hang out with me for that, it's going to be so good, you guys. I am sharing with you my framework, which has taken me years to create, but it's what's helped me replace my 9-to-5 income. It's what's helped my clients book out their programs. It's what's helped my clients to create profitable businesses only in 1 year. And I would love it if you came and hung out. We're going to do some work. We're going to get our what's it called? Our, oh my God, we're going to get our hands dirty and really just look at your business and your vision and your energy. So you can go to coachlaurenashley.com/masterclass, or you can see the link in the show notes for the link to register for the masterclass. But seriously, it's going to be so good. Okay, so I want to leave you guys with some homework today. These are some questions that you can journal on and sit with and really just help you to see like, okay, what am I attracting in my business? So that's actually the first question. What are you attracting in your business? If you are attracting people who are not ready to invest, if you are attracting problematic clients, if you are attracting people who just watch you but don't say anything, or if you are literally not sure what you're attracting because you're attracting nothing, write that down. How do you feel about this situation? Okay, so first, what are you attracting in your business? How do you feel about it? And then what do you believe to be true about your results? What do you believe to be true about your results? How are you showing up for your business? When you think about money in your business and making more of it, how do you feel? What are your limiting beliefs? All right, we're going to dive deeper into this homework in the Magnetize More Money in Your Business Masterclass. It's happening on March 8th. There will be a replay if you're listening to this late, but make sure you sign up. And you'll also get the discount code to join us inside of the Aligned and Magnetic Business Academy. Super excited for that. Anyway, love, thank you so much for tuning in today. And I hope you are having an amazing week. And I'll chat with you soon. Bye.
Thank you so much for tuning into the podcast today. If you like what you heard, I would love it if you left a review. If you like my vibe, come and hang with me in my Facebook or Telegram group. I'll drop the link to my email list below where you can get instant access. Make sure you check the show notes for any other links that I mentioned today. And until next time, I'm sending you waves of abundance.